It's Friday, and that means Jim and Amadeus, and we are going to guide you through all of the pitfalls of, we're only two games away from the end of the season in college football, and we're a week away from Black Friday, which is the first ever Black Friday game on Amazon. So some crazy stuff going on in the next week or so.
Yeah, definitely going into a crazy week with all the Thanksgiving games, Black
Hmm.
Friday game. Obviously, the college football too is now
Hmm.
winding down into their last few games, getting towards bowl season. So yeah, this is the time of the year where it's all just converging.
We're gonna. I got confirmation today that Jack Heelig, whose job it has been for years, about 20 years, has been to have the wonderful opportunity to book all the games for ESPN. So he sets up the bowls and he decides who goes where. And he's sometimes the most liked guy in sports, and he's sometimes the most not so liked guy in sports, especially if you're trying to get somebody to go to the Birmingham Bowl. So it can be a little dicey, but we're gonna have Jack on in the coming weeks. One bit of one bit of housekeeping to take care of, and that is last night. I think we kind of have to start thinking that maybe, just maybe, the Baltimore Ravens might be a team to pay attention to.
Yeah, definitely a very good team. I was on the Ravens -3.5 last
Hmm.
night. That was the AFC North game of the month, so that was a cash. Did get
Yeah.
a little help from Joe Burrow carpal tunnel, but yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Bengals. Their injury or their season has just been plagued by injuries,
Hmm.
specifically to one guy, and now
Right.
it started the season with a calf injury, and now it's a wrist injury, and it's just it almost seems like this year is going to be a write off for the Bengals at this point.
Well, you get snake bit, no pun intended, and some things, just automatically happen. There's not much you can do about it. It kind of, they weren't a deep team to begin with, and that, the injury, especially to your quarterback and someone as important as Joe Burrow is to them, it's a problem. And it gives Baltimore, who's only got two losses in the on the season, and a pretty favorable schedule playing out. It gives them the opportunity to really kind of sneak in there and be either maybe a one or a two seed.
Yeah, I think they could definitely be the number one seed coming out of the AFC this year. I still don't think it's going to be the Chiefs. So
Right.
definitely, yeah, the Ravens are hot right now, and really though, the stats don't lie. They have one of the best
Yeah.
passing defenses in the league. They have one
Hmm.
of the best run defenses in the league. They have one of the best rushing attacks in the league. So everything's just firing on all cylinders for this Ravens team right now.
When you factor in how you look at a game, and I'm not asking you to give up your secret sauce here, but how much do you look at the offensive and defensive and all the different, you know, um, statistical information?
Yeah, well, definitely always want to look at everything because
Sure.
sometimes a team sometimes a team can be better than another team but lose in the matchups, and
Hmm.
that will show. A lot of the times, the teams can be very matched up very similar, and you got to find a different edge in the game. So yeah, it always depends on the game. Every game is different, but yeah, you always want to be aware of how one team
Hmm.
matches up against the other.
It's interesting. I found a stat last night that I had really not either paid attention to, or maybe I should have. It's been 8 years since Thursday night football has been around, and this is the ninth year. And of course, every team plays on Thursday night. That way, everybody gets a fair opportunity there. And it turns out that the Ravens are undefeated on Thursday night. They're 9-0. on Thursday night. And it also turns out that the uh, Cincinnati Bengals are 1-8 now on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, well, there you go. I did see that stat myself.
Hmm.
Didn't really factor it into my
Right. It was
handicap
just
of the
curious to
game,
me. Yeah.
but yeah, definitely there's things like that. Like I know for a long time people would fade the Vikings on Monday nights because
Hmm.
Kirk Cousins was 0-6, 0-7, and it got all the way up to 0-9 before he started clawing that back. Now I think he's 3-9 on Monday nights,
Hmm.
but yeah, definitely, those are things to watch for. But
Hmm.
like I said, last night specifically was a game where I thought the Ravens matched up very well against the Bengals.
Yeah.
So that stat just adds fuel to the fire at that point. But yeah, I
Right.
wasn't gonna base my whole thing on like, oh well, the Ravens are gonna lose one on Thursday night eventually, right?
Well, yeah, maybe, but the same people said Cal Ripken was going to play baseball. For over 3,000 some games. So you never know. All right, now I know, I know that I'm not gonna jump. I'm gonna let you go with this one, okay? Because I'm not gonna ask you because I know that this is the game of the weekend for you, okay? So I'm not gonna. It would be unfair for me to do that. So I'm not gonna. But tonight, South Florida and University of Texas San Antonio is playing at 9 p.m. on ESPN2. Armish Schro is going to be calling the game. Andre Ware, who does an outstanding job, by the way, of color, is going to do the color on the game. And as I know, I'm not going to ask you about, to handicap this because I'm absolutely certain that it's your lock of the week. So we won't go there. But South Florida and UTSA playing. If South Florida wins, they get their ticket punched for a bowl. If UT San Antonio wins, they continue the march for a possible American Conference championship. And we talked just yesterday about Jeff Traylor, who is the head coach there. And interesting thing I found out yesterday from some friends is that on Tuesday, Jeff did a Zoom interview with Texas A&M.
There you go. So maybe that trickles down towards the team tonight, Jim, and we get to see a
Yeah.
nice upset win of your South Florida Bulls. There, I gotta say, I love the way you teed this one up for me. But definitely, I'm with you. I'll take this. I'll take South Florida at the plus 15.5 here. I think it's too many points. UTSA, they've been a very good program with
Oh
Jeff Traylor
yeah.
over the last few years, but
Hmm.
this year they've clearly taken a step back compared to
Hmm.
some previous seasons. Now, I don't know if you want to chalk that up to them being in a new conference now.
Right.
That's with tougher games, or maybe the
Hmm.
talent level has slipped over the last few years. But
Right.
yeah, I don't think even though they're at home, I don't think this UTSA team is as good as previous years. And what Alex Golesh has been doing
Hmm.
at your South Florida program there, Jim. Like, it's hard not to love how he's just come in and turned this thing around.
Well, the thing with Alex is that, and he's the first one to say it. He said it yesterday at a press conference that as much as he is excited about where they've gone, he said we still have a long way to go. And I think that he's not satisfied, and he just says, we want to be where some of these other schools, and he used UTSA as an example, where his problem with the way Alex likes to play is South Florida has not had a problem getting up on teams. Okay, it's that they end up letting teams get back in the game, and that's his problem. And UTSA under Jeff, it's been they get the if they get the early lead, man, they put the pedal to the metal, and they don't let you get back in games. And so we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But UT San Antonio hosting South Florida Bulls tonight, 9 o'clock, ESPN2. Now, there's another game tonight, and it's at 10:30. It's a kind of a Pac-12 after dark. Colorado at Washington State. Timmy Brando, a friend of the podcast and a friend of the show, is you know on the call with Spencer Tillman. That game will be played at Washington State. This is important for Colorado. I mean, Colorado would like to finish the season, with a little bit of flash and a little bit of style, but it's tough to win at Washington State.
Yeah, definitely. So we got the future Alabama head coach here going to Pullman for this game, and
Right.
I almost pulled the trigger on Colorado +4, but I couldn't do it. Washington State's been bad in their last few games, but I think
Yeah.
they showed a little fight last week, and I just don't trust Colorado going up to Pullman. As you said, this is a very tough place to play. Washington State was very good at the beginning of the
Hmm.
season. Obviously, they have that they had that stretch where they were just awful, but this is a beatable team for them. They still have a very good quarterback, and like I said, they showed some fight in their game last week. I
Hmm.
think just like Colorado, they're going to be looking to finish the season strong here. So I think this game will be a good watch.
Hmm.
Personally, I don't know how to bet it because, like I said, I lean Colorado, but I don't trust Washington State. They might be due for a win after the way they've been playing the last few weeks. But
Hmm.
yeah, this is a really tricky game, but definitely could be a good watch.
I think there's a sub, bit of a subtext to this, right? And that is that right now Washington State and Oregon State want to keep the Pac-12 alive, and we talked about this yesterday about the potential of them trying to put together a deal where they get to keep some money so they can rebuild the conference. And you figure, okay, Colorado was basically the first team out to kind of destroy the conference when they were the first ones to make the move, to the Big 12. So you might want to see there's a little bit of a and look like we call it, it's a technical term, the FU factor in this, and you could be there. So you never know. It'll be interesting, that's for sure.
Oh, I will say that very technical indeed, Jim. The FU
Hmm.
factor is a real thing in
Right.
sports. It is damn
Yes.
well. And if you don't believe us, just go watch the NBA on any given night when they play the same
Right.
team twice in a row. Do you ever
Right.
see the same team win both those games?
Nope.
Not often. So it doesn't matter. It could be the Bucks versus the Pistons. They
Right.
see each other twice in a row, and you always drop one for some reason.
Right.
But
It's gonna
yeah, it's a
happen.
good old FU factor.
Yep. All right. Noon on Saturday tomorrow. This is an important game for both teams actually. But Louisville goes down to Miami to Hard Rock and plays the Canes. Oh, it's very simple. A Louisville win, and they're going to play FSU in the championship game, the ACC championship game. A win for Miami, eh, it gives them a chance to be a spoiler. And if you're Miami after you lost to FSU in a close game, by the way, last week, it's going to be a chance for Mario Cristobal to make a case that the Canes, albeit this wasn't a great season, the good times are on the rise. Now, one thing that we should note is that I don't believe Miami's uh, number one quarterback Van Dyke is going to play in this game. I think he's injured. I don't think he's going to play. So Louisville against Miami at Miami. Sean McDonough, Greg McElroy on the call. It's noon on ABC.
Yeah, well, I mean, Emery Williams hasn't been awful from what we've seen in that offense. Now,
Right.
I won't say much about this game because I'm very likely going to have a premium play on this one.
Then don't.
But
Yes.
all I'll say is it's definitely going to be a good watch because I think there's a lot riding on the line for both teams in this one.
Yeah, and you hope if you're a Louisville fan that they. I mean, Louisville has had these opportunities in the past, and they've spit the bit. Okay, they just can't. They just choked. They've choked away these things. They haven't had they haven't won a game of this import. We talked a little bit about Baltimore last night since Lamar Jackson was playing for them. So this is possibly the most important game since Lamar was back at Louisville, and so we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. So once again, that's a noon game on ABC. McElroy sounds like a law firm is handling the call. Number two, I'm sorry, three. Michigan at Maryland. That's a noon game on Fox. Gus Johnson, Joe Klatt. It's their A game. It's a big noon game. Earlier in the season, Maryland with Tua's Jr. Was the guy, and you think that it's really going to be a potential of a good season, and they've kind of regressed, unfortunately, for that, and so it is what it is, right? And so now Michigan, they're 1 week away from that showdown at Ohio State. I don't think they look forward. And remember, this is not a Jim Harbaugh coach team.
Yeah, this is going to be Sharon Moore again. Harbaugh's obviously he's accepted his suspension now, but there might be a little bit of FU factor for Michigan here.
Right.
As you said, this Maryland team, they started off hot. They were what 5-0 pretty much.
Yeah,
and then,
they went undefeated for the first 5 or 6 games. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they hit the Big Ten schedule, and
Yep.
the Big Ten ain't even that good, and they started dropping games like dead flies. So,
Oh man.
I don't know. I don't know about this Maryland team. I mean, Michigan's a 19.5 point favorite in this game. I don't see how you don't lay it. Michigan's won every game except for the game against Penn State last week. They won every game by 20 plus this
Sure.
year, and they've barely given up more than one score. Again, other than the Penn State game, who technically is the top 10 team in the country,
Right.
they haven't given up more than one score in a game all year. So
Yeah.
this is one where I don't see how it's not your classic 31-7 Michigan game here.
I think this is one of those ones where Maryland fans are leaving at halftime. Oklahoma BYU. That's a game going to be played in Provo tomorrow. It's a noon start, which is 11 o'clock start it's a 10 a.m. start in Provo. So Oklahoma and BYU meeting for a brunch game on ESPN. Mark Jones, Louis Riddick, and Quint Kesnick on the call there.
Yeah, this is one. Oklahoma's a 24.5 point favorite. I don't know how you can lay 24.5 with the way Oklahoma has played lately. This is going to be a tough game for them on the road at the altitude. But at the same time, I don't know how you take the points with BYU the way they've played all season. Their defense, I was hearing talks right out of Kalani Sitake's mouth about how he thinks his own defense has quit on him and isn't buying into the system. So these are the problems you're dealing with BYU. I mean, Oklahoma could score a ton on them and cover the spread easily, but we've also seen Oklahoma have offensive problems. So
right,
they could lay an egg in this game on the road at the altitude. So this is definitely a game I want no part of.
Well, here's a game that it's 12 noon, so ESPNU, Eric Fetty, Jack Ford on the call. It's a game I did one time, and it's hard to explain, but it's really a fun game, and the atmosphere is very, very amazing around it. It's Harvard and Yale, and the game is being played at the Yale Bowl in Connecticut. And I'll tell you, the program every year, okay, it's just the logo of both teams split in half of the logo. In half of the screen of the program, and it just says the game. And they've been playing this game for over 152 years. So it is a game that has some history. And so Harvard at Yale, noon, ESPNU. I would recommend do this, okay? Obviously, there's going to be far more important games than this one on the schedule, and certainly on at noon, okay? but I'm just asking you to just flip over for a couple minutes and watch a little bit of this Ivy League game between these two teams. It's just, there's something special about it. Maybe you have to be there, I guess, maybe. The one I did was at Harvard, but but it's interesting. It is a game that has a great deal of history. You don't do 150 plus years of playing each other and not have history. So yeah, it might be worth your while. So anyway, just saying. If you have a couple of minutes, check it out. It might be fun. All right, let's roll up to the 3:30 games. And Georgia, Tennessee on CBS, Nestler and Danielson on that call. Um, that's going to be an interesting. I mean, Tennessee. Everybody thought Tennessee was going to have that great season, and Missouri has aced them out of that. So, and I don't see Georgia making having a bad day. It's going to be played in Knoxville, so 102,000 people. One cool thing about Knoxville is you can get to the stadium on a boat. So they have boat tailgating, which is kind of cool. So there's that. But I don't think we're going to hear a lot of Rocky Top being played against Georgia tomorrow. I think Georgia's defense is going to give Tennessee all kinds of fits.
Yeah, I think the rankings have been way too high on Tennessee all year. They are not
Yeah,
a great team. They really got hurt by Hendon Hooker leaving for the NFL.
sure.
It's clear their offense is not the same, and that's the thing. Last year, that's really all they had. They had this great offense, and they were a great team, but their defense was giving up a ton of points, and that was their downfall in a lot of games. Yeah, Georgia's a 10-point favorite in this game. I don't see how you don't lay it with Georgia. I don't expect the Volunteers to be carrying the field goal off to the river in this game.
No, I agree. The Battle of US. Let me try this again, speaking English. The Battle of Los Angeles, UCLA USC. The game's going to be played at the Coliseum. About 3 weeks ago, or so, 3 to 4 weeks ago, this game was, had some pretty interesting potential. But a lot has happened to both these teams since 3 or 4 weeks ago. And it's 3:30 on ABC. Dave Pasch, Dusty Dvorak, and Tom Luckenbill on the call for that game. But right now, I don't know what. Well, you'll tell me, but I would have to lean UCLA on this game.
Yeah, this is one. This is a very interesting game. What if I had told you at the beginning of the season that neither one of these teams was going to be ranked in the top 25 by
Right.
the time we got to this game? So, yeah, there's something to chew on there. Just the fact
Yeah.
that these two teams have been ranked basically almost every week up until the last two or now, and
Hmm.
yeah, now we're coming into this game. They're both unranked. They've both shown their colors this year, and yeah, I'm with you. I think you got to take UCLA. They're a 6.5 point underdog in this game, and I don't really see how. I don't see how you lay the points. There's not going to be much of a home advantage for USC here. I don't think it's not. It's obviously it's not. A
Well,
large.
no, actually, to be honest, the campus of UCLA is closer to the Coliseum than it is to the Rose Bowl. So it actually, in a way, if you're a UCLA fan, you don't have to go, don't go that far. As a matter of fact, for many, many, many years, I bet 70, maybe 60, 70 years, UCLA and USC shared the Coliseum, and they played each other every year in the Coliseum. So it's just been, when I say recent meaning maybe 20 years, that UCLA has decided to go out to Pasadena and play their games. But Westwood is a lot closer to the Coliseum in downtown than it is to Pasadena. So I don't see that. If you're a UCLA fan, you got to go, wow, this is good for me because I don't have to drive out to Pasadena. for the game. So yeah, I expect that there'll be just as many UCLA fans as there will be USC fans.
Yeah, and you took the next point right out of my mouth. I was going to say UCLA, not much of a travel for them either in this game.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're going to give me 6.5 points, this is a very specific game where you have bad offense
Mm-hmm.
versus bad defense, good offense versus good defense. We've seen
Right.
what USC has done against better defenses they
Right.
face. You're going to give me 6.5 points with the better defensive team. I'll take the better defensive team.
Yeah, and I think Chip Kelly has a chip, no pun intended, on his shoulder about what Lincoln Riley, has done, and basically Lincoln Riley had taken over the city, and Chip's got an ego as well, and I think that in some regards, as both these teams are headed to the Big Ten, right? This could be this could decide a couple of key recruits that are from the Southern California area, trying to pick between do they go to USC or do they go to UCLA.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a ton. Obviously, there's not going to be implications for the playoffs
No,
or for
no,
the Pac-12 championship,
no.
but there's going to be recruiting implications for sure. So I think, yeah, I think this is one. This is one where both teams probably have something to prove the way they play this year.
We used to joke about this game being the Mater Day Bowl. Now, what is that? Okay, Mater Day is a private Catholic school in Southern California, right? It's in Los Angeles. And Mater Day has sent more kids to both these schools than any other high school in Southern California. And, so it's been a feeder school. Matt Leinart was a Mater Day quarterback. Um, you know, uh, this is a school that, just turns out, pretty much every kid that plays on the football team ends up with a scholarship somewhere. But the creme de la creme of Mater Day heads to one of these two schools. It has in the past as well. So, there's a lot of good high school football in Southern California, and whoever wins this game is probably going to get a leg up on getting some of that talent.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
anyway, all right. I'm saying this game. This is. I'm going to say it only because it's being played. It's 3:30 NBC. Wake Forest, Notre Dame. Do with it as you wish. There's absolutely no reason to. For me, anyway, there's absolutely no reason to watch this game.
Does it have to be played?
Well, it's contractually obligated, so they get to play the game. If they're playing at, by the way, at Notre Dame, so Wake Forest travels to Notre Dame. Good
Well,
on
this
them.
is this is what technically this is the Sam Hartman game.
Right, yeah, that's true. That's a good point. The Yeah, I'm trying to find a game that's worthy of watching at 3:30. I'm kind of sad now that Harvard and Yale's playing at noon, because there's some dog games here. I don't, man. All right, well,
North Carolina, Clemson, maybe.
uh, yeah, maybe,
Maybe
you
that
know,
moves the needle.
maybe. Carolina, is Carolina favored
No, Clemson's a 7.5 point favorite at home.
at home?
Yeah,
Have they watched Clemson play? No, I guess.
I
I
know.
guess they
I know.
have. They're not favored. Okay. Silly me. I thought Carolina, who is ranked, might be a favorite. I don't honestly. I don't think playing at Clemson is the intimidating factor that it once was.
No, especially in the
Um,
daytime. Who's showing up for this? What they're barely even bowl eligible this year, let alone
yeah,
this is a team to watch.
yeah. I'm not so certain. You know, a fun one. It's a rivalry game. Bethune Cookman and Florida A&M. They're playing the game in Orlando. It's ESPN at 3:30 game. Tiffany Green, Jay Walker on that call. If for nothing else, watch it for the halftime. The bands are fantastic. But I think Florida A&M, has a chance to be in the FBS tournament, so that might be of interest. Here's one I'll give you at 3:30. It's on CBS Sports Network. Carter Blackburn and Randy Cross on the call. A surprisingly good bowl eligible UNLV team they were left for dead in the Mountain West, taking on Air Force, and that game's at Colorado State. I'm sorry, at Colorado State. It's in shoot. Why am I blanking on it? It's not Colorado State. It's at Air Force. It's UNLV at Air Force. What I was trying to say, the game is going to be in Colorado at the Air Force Academy. Air Force, of course, has done very well this year so far, but so is UNLV. So maybe there's a little bit of, that might be one of those under the radar kind of fun games to watch. But I'm trying, gang, to find you something to watch here. There's not a lot to be seen. Once you drop that UCLA USC game and then Georgia Tennessee, it falls off real fast. At the 3:30 games, they're just Baylor. Does Baylor TCU do anything for you?
No,
doesn't for me.
Baylor's awful. I want nothing. I don't want to watch that game. I don't want to bet on it. I don't want.
I don't want to be near it.
Yeah.
Oregon,
I don't even want to know the score when it's done, Jim.
Right, just look at your phone. That's all you
not
need to
even.
know.
I don't. That's not even a game I'm gonna look at. Just we don't even need to know what happened.
Don't waste your time. Okay,
doesn't affect anything for the rest of the season.
The 4:00 game on Fox. We've all been all over Oregon, and they're playing in the desert against Arizona State. Jeff Levering and Mark Hyrick on the call for that one. Oregon's got to be double-digit favorite on this game.
Oh yeah, they're a big 24-point favorite here, and we would know as a Cardinals fan, you know, I know how these teams come to the desert. They don't do well, but Oregon's a machine. I don't know. Oregon is the Eugene Chainsaw Massacre. I don't know how you fade that here. I mean, Arizona State has played well lately, but
right.
they're winning games 11-7.
Yeah, they're not
scraping by.
Well, and the thing is, they landed some pretty decent quarterbacks at Arizona State.
Yeah, well, that one guy, Rashada, has been out all season, and then they put Drew Pine, who I think was the Notre Dame quarterback last year.
Yeah, Drew Pine was Notre Dame last year. Yeah.
Yeah, he got injured after 3 plays, and then now
right.
it's Trenton Bourget out there.
Right.
So.
Oops. Yeah. I don't know. It's a great stadium to play at, so I'm sure that Bo Nix will tee it up and away they'll go. I don't foresee Oregon getting bounced on this one. I think they'll go out in the desert and have some fun.
Yeah, they're locked in. Their only focus is getting to the Pac-12 championship and kicking Washington's ass at this point.
Yeah. 6:30. There's a. By the way, there's North Alabama at Florida State. That game's the CW.
Are you running to the window to lay the 49.5 with Florida State?
No.
Jim?
No.
we could. You want to lay 45 with Alabama against? Who do they play? Chattanooga.
Yeah, something like that. Let me ask you something about this, okay? When you're playing, if you're Florida State and North Alabama, or you just mentioned Alabama playing, I think Chattanooga, right? Oh, God.
3 games from the end of the season.
Right. These are the senior days, okay? So I'm guessing Mike Norvell, I'm sure Saban, they all do this. They try to get all the seniors in the game, all right? So I would think that in some regards, it's a good thing. It's a nice thing for them to do when they're playing, people who are coming up to pick up a check, which is fine. It's nothing wrong with that. But I would think if you're wagering on a game like this, you got to factor in there that that they're going to be some guys play who probably aren't you know, your number one, number two guys.
Yeah, definitely. I don't. It's a good thing though. I don't think people are running to the window to bet these
No.
games. But yeah, maybe I do know. I don't know what the Florida State one is, but I
Yeah.
know it's 45.5 in the Alabama game. It could easily be 56-3.
It could
So
be. And they can still
that's
play every one of their seniors.
that's the thing, right? That's why you don't want to touch these games, as you
Mm,
just said. You could get some second stringers in there, some third
yeah.
stringers, some fourth stringers, but does it matter in the end? It might not.
Hell, by the end of the game, there might be some band members playing in the game. I mean,
You might get the kicker a touchdown.
right, exactly. Give him a
Take it in from the
chance.
1 yard line.
Yeah, it's like give him a flip. Here, take it in.
The long snapper. All right,
Right.
we're gonna get you on the board. 1 yard
Yeah,
reception.
there you go. So there you go. One other, it's the 6:30 start. Pac-12 Network. Roxy Bernstein, my boy, and Max Brown on the call. It's Cal and Stanford. They're headed for the ACC for next year. These teams have Cal has put some points on the board as of late, so might be that might be an offensive game to watch with those two teams at 6:30 on the Pac-12 network. 7 o'clock, Kansas State. This could be. We talked about what Kansas has done and how they've had some problems, but Kansas State, this wouldn't be a bad one. They're ranked number 21 and 22 in the latest poll. So Kansas State, yeah, it could be. They're playing for the Sunflowers, which is what they play for in Kansas. I would have thought other things, maybe barbecue, but guess not. So it's Sunflowers. Okay, cool. Battle of the Sunflowers for Kansas State and Kansas.
That would be a good
FS1.
trophy. The
Alex
golden
Faust.
barbecue.
Yeah, you could eat it. That wouldn't be bad at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, the golden barbecue. You get to keep the barbecue, and then you can even cook something on it
Oh,
afterwards.
okay,
That's the
that's
trophy.
true. Okay, fair. Okay, but let me. How about this? Okay, as we constantly come up with good ideas that people need to pay attention to.
Yeah, remember to give us a call.
That's right. Okay, Kansas State. Whoever wins, right? They not only get the barbecue and a smoker, not just the barbecue, but the smoker as well. Okay, but they then have to cook the barbecue for the other team.
It's the golden patio set.
Right, that's
Right?
it.
You win the patio set, and
Right.
you got loser cooks, or what
Right.
did you say? Winner cooks or loser
Winner has to cook. No, the loser has to cook for the winner.
Okay, so the winner gets to keep the barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
But the loser's using it to cook. I like
That's
that.
right.
I like that. The golden patio.
And they have to clean it up afterwards, and away they go.
That's perfect. It's just a
how
big
about it?
backyard party. I like that. I like that a lot.
Okay. They bring the beverages as well. All right. So, those of you at Kansas State, our numbers and our email addresses are in the show box below. Please do not hesitate to use them. Okay. All right. ABC 7:30. Fowler and Herb Street. Washington at Oregon State. Okay. So that's. You know what? I'm not saying it's a trap game, but Oregon State could beat Washington given the fact that Washington has not played much in the way of defense these past few weeks.
Well,
I'm not saying they're gonna. I'm just saying they could.
This is definitely the big game of the day for me, Jim. This is the one I'll be watching, and I will say Vegas tends to agree with you because Oregon State's a 2.5-point favorite. It's gotten
What?
down to 1. I guess there's been a lot of money coming in on Washington because they're only 1-point favorite now. They opened as a 2.5-point favorite.
Well,
It's the Corvallis effect.
well, nobody likes playing there. I get that. I know. Okay, they haven't since
Yeah.
Dennis Erickson coached back there. Okay, I mean that would scare me the hell out of me if I'm Washington. Going in there, it's a chamber of horrors. Now, this being said, Kurt Herbstreit, who was last night in Baltimore, Kurt is going to be on the set of Game Day, which is at James Madison, which, by the way, happens to be in, you can't get there from here, Virginia. And he will then board a private plane, which I guess ESPN has chartered for him, to fly to Corvallis to do the Washington-Oregon State game.
Yeah, I heard him talking about that last night on the Thursday night football game, and just what are we doing? We're having a guy literally fly across the country to do two games on the same day, and why is college game day even at a school that's not allowed to be ranked, not allowed to be bowl eligible, not allowed to be anything?
Here's the theory of the case on that. I found that one out. I made a phone call and to my buddies at ABC and ESPN. And the folks at ESPN were like, look, they're not going to get to be in a bowl, but why can't they have game day there? You know, we need to give them some props somehow. And the best way we can think of is give them game day as that. Now, here's the weirdness to me. I love Kurt Herbstreit. I do. He is a wonderful guy. He is a good analyst. Nothing with Kirby's a good guy. All right. Here's the thing. Why does he have to be on the set of Game Day? I don't get that. Question. You know, you just hired 26 different people at ESPN. Why not? Why do you have to have Herbstreit? I mean, or for that matter, if you're gonna have him on from Corvallis. I mean, it's not like they don't have satellite time that they can't do it. Albeit it would be dark in Corvallis when they're doing the game. But I mean the pregame show. But he's just doing the pregame show. He's not doing the game. So I don't get it. I don't see why he physically has to be at James Madison, then get on a plane, fly across country, and get there just in time for the Washington-Oregon State game.
Yeah, definitely doesn't make sense why they need him at both places. I'm with you. I would have just stick to one. But my point is that, I'm not saying James Madison should be on College Game Day.
Right.
No, I think they should be. I think it's ridiculous that they can't compete in everything. So This is my point was like, why are they sending College Game Day to a team? Because they know how good James Madison is, and why can't the committee just they rejected their waiver again this week? It's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous what's going on.
Okay, and let's see. Going down the list here, the 8 o'clock game on Fox is Texas at Iowa State. Iowa State's had some decent wins this year, but I don't think Texas is going to be one of them. Jason Benedetti and Brock Hubert on the call for that game.
You know what? I could see Iowa State winning this game. Texas isn't as good as their record suggests. They barely scrape by in their games. They got up big against TCU last week, and they let TCU claw their way back in it. And Quinn Ewers was playing in that game, so they had no excuses to dominate a bad TCU team that beat them last year. You'd think that you'd want to get that revenge factor. No, it's not the same TCU team, but I don't think Texas is as good. They're a 7.5 point favorite in this game. I would take the 7.5 with Iowa State. I think they can give them some trouble here.
It's certainly possible.
Iowa State also, I don't think is as bad as everybody thought they were going to be when they had the betting scandal at the beginning of the year. And
that's fair.
All their key players. Yeah. I think they've come a long way.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Let's take a look here. By the way, after that game that we're talking about at 8 o'clock on Fox, you'd be better served to either go to bed after the game's over, or if you got to stay up, watch the F1 race. We'll talk about that a little bit later, because there is no football games after 8 o'clock that's worth staying up to watch. So unless you're friends and family of some of these teams. All right, let's go. We talked about the Thursday night game, which was a fun one. But let me see here. I had my bad. I pulled up the wrong screen. So let me just give me a second here till we can to get it straight. All right, there we go. All right. So last night we saw Baltimore and Cincinnati. Sunday night game is going to be Minnesota at Denver. The Monday night game is the game of the week. Philadelphia, Kansas City. That's the Monday night game. We'll get to that on Monday night. Here are the early games. Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Iron Eagle Charles Davis on that call at Cleveland. You know, they both have the same record, and whoever wins this game is going to be, still in the hunt for the North Division. Although we said that beating Baltimore out is going to be tough.
Yeah, definitely. Whoever wins this game is going to have the edge when it comes to catching Baltimore in the standings. Mm-hmm. But this, I got to say, bold decision by the Browns here, considering the way PJ Walker has played in the offense this year. They're going back to DTR for this game, so we'll see. He claims he's not going to be as wide-eyed in this one, so we'll find out on Sunday.
Look, I watched probably most of DTR's games in college, okay? Much respect for the kid, because Chip Kelly had no offensive line. It's like he didn't recruit them. It's like, whoever showed up played offensive line. So DTR, spent most of his time at UCLA running around trying to keep from getting killed. So much respect for that. But no, he's not going to be able to do that against Pittsburgh. It's just not going to happen. This is one of those games that plays right into Pittsburgh's style of playing. Ugly and winning. So
yeah, his only saving grace is he's probably got one of the best defenses in the NFL.
That's it. That is the saving grace. And the other thing is, Kenny Pickett, be more than happy to contribute to Cleveland's takeaway margin. So
that's
we'll have to
the
see
thing
that.
with Pickett, right? I don't think it's going to be if he throws an interception. It's how
when
many is he throwing.
Right. And the other is when. It's okay if you throw it early, but don't throw it late. That's not going to help you.
Yeah, coming down, game-winning drive, throw a pick six, seal the game.
Yeah. Nail it down.
Could happen.
All right.
It's a Kenny Pickett move.
It is a Kenny Pickett move. There's no question about that. We talked about Miami hosting Louisville on Saturday. Well, Vegas comes to town at Hard Rock on Sunday for a trip to play against the Dolphins. Kevin Harlan, why can't I say Trent Green? Kevin Harlan, Trent Green on that call on CBS. Miami's coming off a bye. I don't think Vegas comes in and takes anything out of this game.
Yeah, it's a bad situational spot, I would say. You get a team coming back from another country, coming off a loss, coming out of the bye. Rookie quarterback on the road here. Now their third game, I guess, of a new head coach.
Right. Antonio Pierce. I would feel better if Antonio Pierce was playing in this game. But, nah. This is a lost leader. This is an interesting one. Tennessee is playing Jacksonville, and Jacksonville, it's Spiro Ditas and Adam Archuleta. Tennessee played pretty decent last week. Jacksonville had the 49ers, and you got to wonder, okay, yeah, it was Brock Purdy and everybody's back, and the 49ers look really good. But was Jacksonville, They only scored 3 points last week. Is Jacksonville, going to have a bounce back game here? They can't afford to lose to Tennessee.
Yeah, so I was all over the 49ers last week.
Sure.
I thought it was a very
Yeah, you
good
said it was
spot
going to
for
fly.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Jaguars, they were due for a loss.
Mm-hmm.
They had that interesting start to the season, and then went on the 6 game winning streak that started in London. And even
Right.
when they came back from London, they were overachieving a bit because they spent 2 weeks there. They didn't really have the bye. They got back, played a home game, went on the road for Thursday night,
Mm-hmm.
went on the road again. So, and they just kept winning games. So I think what we saw last week was
Mm-hmm.
probably just the schedule catching up with the Jaguars. There probably should have been a loss somewhere in there before their game against the 49ers. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think this is a good bounce back spot for them just because this Titans team has been awful on the road this year. They're 0-5 in road games. They're
Right.
0-1 in their only game out of the country. So they haven't won a single game outside of their home stadium. And this is one where again I think it's a bad situational spot. Will Levis, yeah, he's looked all right in his 2 starts, but
Mm-hmm.
again, this is their third straight road game for the Titans. That's not something you see a lot in the
Right.
NFL. I don't know why specifically they scheduled, and I believe the Giants are in the middle of a 3 game road trip as well.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's not something you see often. Three
Mm-hmm.
straight road games for a team in the NFL with no like break in between. So
Sure.
I think it's an awful spot. They did have the one Thursday night game, so you could call that a mini bye. But
Right.
at the same time, this is going to be a tough game for them.
Well, the next one is just the game that everybody, I'm sure, is going to be tuned to, and that's the Cardinals at the Texans. Tom McCarthy, James Lofton, Jay Feely on the call. The soon to be red hot Arizona Cardinals head to Houston. Man, Houston has just, I don't know what to say. I mean, Houston just keeps playing out of their bodies.
Yeah, Houston's been something else this season, but this is a game I actually think the Cardinals take this one, and
Whoa.
I think they should be the favorite team here. I think it's ridiculous that Houston's a 6 point favorite. Um, yeah, this is a straight. The Cardinals are a better team. Their defense hasn't been the
Mm-hmm.
best, but they have one. But despite their 2-8 record this year, the Cardinals have one of the best rushing attacks in the NFL. And even though the Texans do stop the run well, they're going to have trouble against one of the best running offenses in the NFL, especially with uh, the addition of Kyler Murray's legs into the equation now. His
Right.
speed and just accounting for him as a runner is going to be a lot tougher on this Texans defense. And something that their defense doesn't do good is pass defense. So
Right.
if the Cardinals get the run game going, this Kyler Murray is going to light them up through the air. I don't see the Texans winning this game.
I don't see the Texans have a spy for him. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's the big problem, right?
well, yeah, because people forget that if you've got a running quarterback, you have to account for him. And that takes one guy away from your pass defense. And if you got sloppy pass defense to begin with, that doesn't help. So it plays right into what you're saying. All right. Remember in, you know, fantasy sports, you kind of have those survivor pools, you know? Well, here's a survivor game. The Jets are at Buffalo. Nance and Romo on the call of that game. I mean, it's whoever wins this game, you know, might have a better shot at a playoff spot. Buffalo can't afford to lose it because they're already, we've already said Miami's not going to have a tough time against Vegas. They just can't fall any further back and hope to. I mean, can they make the playoffs? Of course they can make the playoffs, but it's just a tough day. And Buffalo, and we've said the Jets have got a good defense. I don't know if they'll be able to score enough points, but Buffalo's going to be Buffalo's going to have a tough time. I think anyway, a tough time with the Jets defense.
Yeah, definitely. This is not a game I love at all.
Oh, I would think not.
Yeah, it's a really tricky one. Just the Jets offense is awful. The
Mm-hmm.
Bills are due for one of their big bounce back
Mm-hmm.
wins, especially with the way Josh Allen played last week. But
Right.
he's had a turnover problem. It's been a very
Mm-hmm.
consistent turnover problem, and I can't trust the Bills, but you
Mm-hmm.
can't trust the Jets on the road with that offense. So
Right.
this is a no play for me.
Yeah. I can see that. Seattle and the Rams. It's an NFC West battle. Obviously, more important right now for Seattle than the Rams. Andrew Carlone, Tiki Barber, Matt Ryan on the call for that game. That's the last of the late games on CBS. So let's go now to what could be, given what they're doing lately, a slaughter, and that is Dallas at Carolina. Kevin Burkhardt and Gray. Okay, I gotta ask something. This is, why in heaven's name would you have your A team on Dallas and Carolina? I mean, because this has got blowout written all over it.
Because it's the Dallas Cowboys,
You
Jim.
keep
You don't
telling me
need
that. Yes,
any
you
other
keep telling me.
excuse.
You keep telling me that. I don't know why I don't learn it, but can I tell you?
It's the Dallas Cowboys. Come
Oh,
on, America's team. You can't not have the
America's
A team.
team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't not have the A team for the Dallas Cowboys. Come on.
Oh man.
It
Yeah, but
doesn't
I'm
matter
gonna.
if they're playing a college team.
Yeah, that's it. Playing Texas A&M. Um, the thing. Okay, let me just. Man, this is gonna be one of those long days journeying tonight. I mean, Dallas is just gonna. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something here, but do you think Dallas? I mean, Dallas just hangs 40 points on good teams. Um, Man, this could be a name that score. Dak Prescott could be sitting on a lawn chair, sipping a beverage at in the third quarter of this game.
Yeah, they definitely love to beat up on bad teams. They've struggled against some of the better teams, but you can't deny the fact that they crush every bad team they
What
play.
they
So,
put 40 some points on New York.
it's 49-17. They beat them
Yeah,
40-0 on the road earlier this
yeah.
year.
What's the
Um,
line on this? Is there a line on this?
10.5 for the Cowboys, and it's not even the biggest line on the board this week, Jim.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
All
want to
right.
know what the biggest line is?
Sure. Sure.
The Dolphins minus 13.5 against the Raiders.
Eh, I don't know about you. Getting up once you get to those double digit in pro football, that makes me antsy.
And there's still one more game that's a higher spread than the Cowboys.
Oof. Yeah. Well,
The 49ers are 11.5 point favorites against the Bucks.
against our team of destiny.
Yes, our official team of the show.
Right. Well, because of our official quarterback of the show,
Yeah,
who, by the way,
exactly.
said that not for nothing this week. Props to to him for being a real, hey, we're gonna go do. So Baker Mayfield said this week, that he has great respect for the San Francisco defense, but they can be scored on. Okay, I guess they can.
Yeah,
But
yeah, they've given up points all
they've
year.
given up points.
What does
Okay,
that mean though?
scored on. Yes, you could kick a field goal. That's
That
scoring on them technically. Yeah.
literally
Okay.
what I was thinking. You could kick a 50-yard field goal, and
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
that
You
is
could
scoring.
you could lose 28-3, but yeah, you would score. I mean, technically he's right. So there's
Okay, so
nothing wrong.
Baker Mayfield says don't play win to nil for the 49ers.
Right. Don't take the don't play the shutout. They're not going to play. Chargers at Green Bay. Kevin Kugler, Mark Sanchez. I don't know what to make of the Chargers. Honest to goodness, I don't. I just they'll have one game and they'll play everything well. Then they got another game where they can't find the locker room. I mean, it's just nuts.
I know they really seem like a two-step forward, one-step back kind
Yeah,
of team, right? Right when
schizophrenic.
they start to find some traction, and
Yeah,
then it's like No.
Just when you want to believe in them, they go and crush you.
Yeah. So interesting. I mean, I don't think the Packers are that much better.
Oh
So
no, no. But you don't want to be playing the Packers this time of the year in Green Bay.
yeah, yeah, very tough place. I don't know how cold it's going to be. Actually, it's not
It
too
wa-
cold
it pro-
where
it
I
was not
am.
going to be that cold, but it's colder than Los Angeles, so
Yeah.
I don't think it shouldn't make a difference. Uh, Intriguing game. Chicago at Detroit, and I think that's going to be an interesting game. Detroit, I think Detroit just wants to start trying, if that can do that, trying to start putting some style points up just to prove to people, hey, look, pay attention to us.
I mean, very well. This is a divisional game, so it's
Yeah,
going to be a bit tougher for them. But what is it? It's Justin Fields' return too. So, I mean, it's not going to be easy for Justin Fields. First game back on the road after missing the last four. So we'll see. And now he's going to have some pressure. Tyson Bagent went 2-2 in his 4 games, so now he's got a little. And the fact that you're telling me mock drafts have the Bears taking a quarterback.
yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be some fire under his ass in this game.
I'm sorry, Justin Fields does not strike fear into me. It just doesn't. It's I think
You're not
Detroit.
shaking in your boots.
No, 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 no. I'll tell you what. They could let him out there, you know, on a 7-on-7 drill, and it still wouldn't scare me. So maybe I'm being harsh. Who knows? A contractually obligated game between the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders takes place. Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma on the call for that, and so should be, as the old saying goes, as Kenny Mayne would say, should be a game, which is exactly what it would be. Giants and Washington playing at FedEx Field over in Landover. So that's that one. And then we touched on this a little earlier. Tampa Bay at Frisco. That's the late game. Joe Davis and Moose Johnson on the call. And Baker Mayfield, write this down, folks, says that the San Francisco Giants defense can be scored on.
Yes.
Didn't say how many points they could be scored on, but he did say they could be scored on. And technically, he was right because last week the Jags put 3 points on them.
I don't think they have a
So
shutout this year, actually.
no,
So,
no,
like,
but
I
that
don't know
doesn't
where
mean they're
those.
not good.
But that's what I mean. Like, I don't know where those comments come from. They're one of the best defenses
was
in the NFL. And
Yeah,
they
it's
haven't
kind
had
of a
shutout.
random. Yeah, I mean it's kind of a random thing to say, right? I mean their defense they can be scored upon.
You know what that is?
Okay.
That's just coach talk, is what
Yeah,
that is, right? It's
it's
just
like
like,
you're right.
the fundamentals, the X's and O's,
Right.
we can score points.
It's like saying, they wear red uniforms with gold numbers. Well, you're right. Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
Not
I'm
arguing.
surprised. I'm surprised they didn't go forward and be like, there's tons of ways to score. The offense can score, the defense can score, the
Right.
special teams can
Right.
score. It's like, all right, yes.
Vita Vey could tackle. Vita Vey could tackle somebody in the end zone for a safety. We could get that one. So
Just describing the
these-
many ways you can score
the
points.
many ways
in
we
the
could
NFL.
score upon them. You know, you know,
Valid.
Brock Purdy could throw a Brock Purdy could throw a pick six. I mean, there's so many ways that this could happen. So not sure about that, but okay. So all right, the late game. The red hot Minnesota Vikings are in Denver, and that's the game for Sunday night.
And if I told you the Vikings had the longest active win streak in the NFL right now, would you believe that?
You know what? I'd have to, because I think it actually is true.
It is. They're the only team that's won 5 straight currently. So, Yeah, take that as you will. If anything, I think the Broncos have actually looked a lot better in these last few weeks, especially coming out of the bye and beating Buffalo. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
We got Foxy says, "Hey guys, hope all's well. Venezuela en route to World Cup. Brazil going nowhere." Spoken like a true fan of everybody but Brazil. Good to see Foxy. Immaculate, how are you? Beating Oregon State at Corvallis is tough. You're right, my friend. 100%. We definitely that's a place no one likes to go play. You can't get there from here. Situation. So I guess Curb Sheet's gonna figure it out from James Madison to Corvallis. But yeah, tough place to play. And Immaculate also says, I think ESPN wants to join in on the assault on the NCAA. I would say that pretty much everybody wants to join in that assault. It's you don't have to get in line for that one. I think everybody wants to take them down. So I couldn't agree with you more on that one too. All right, we've come to the end of our Friday show, which is jumbo packed, but it the fun part is just beginning, because that means that in the show box below you can find out what my compadre here has got for you for all weekend, which includes, I'm sure, a couple of soccer events as well.
Yeah, make sure you check out my premium plays at bigal.com, pickadvisor.com, and theinsidersroom.com. The links are in the description below. I'm coming off a nice 6-1 day yesterday. 3-0 on
Wow.
the pitch. We cashed the AFC North game of the month with the Ravens. Went 2-0 in college basketball. So the
Wow.
only loss was I was on Boston College, unfortunately, in that college football game. But
Do you never learn?
we'll look to Saturday to bounce back. But yeah, definitely go check out my premium plays tonight. I have some basketball, actually just basketball, up to NBA and to college basketball for the rest of the day now. And yeah, I already have my whole NFL card you can go get. I'll have my college
Wow.
football card up later. And as Jim said, I'll have some of the Euro Cup qualifiers, cashed a big plus 170 with Luxembourg yesterday. So be on the lookout for those as well.
And don't forget to watch the Bulls tonight as they get together against the Roadrunners at 9 o'clock on ESPN2. And
Yes, game of the year.
Game of the year, and see Alex Golish take the team to higher heights, or not. If they don't take them to higher heights, then don't worry, because next week they get Charlotte, and Charlotte is not a great team, and they get them at home. So if you can't get it this week, maybe next week. All right, gang, have a great weekend. Be safe, and we will be back on Monday to tell you what's going on over the weekend, and also to chat a bit about what happened over the weekend and what's heading up to the Monday night game. And then, of course, we'll maybe even have some Otani chat for you at that point in time. Maybe we'll find out that the Red Sox have moved heaven and earth and basically are giving him Fenway Park. You never know. Anything's possible. And his own Dunkin' Donuts franchise in Tokyo. So you never know. So fun stuff, boys and girls. We'll see you on Monday. Have a safe weekend. For Amadeus, I'm Jim. Bye.